Hello everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video concerning the Progetto 46, and of course it's an in-shot because the tank is new and just hit the shop yesterday. You have two offers, if I remember correctly. You have one for 15,000 gold and one for 12.5k gold. Personally, I always take the higher gold one because I like to not spend my credits. I would rather spend gold than credits, which makes me one of the worst deal breaker ever in the existence of World of Tank Blitz. But still, so what do you need to know about this tank? Let's be clear, it's a skill needed tank. If you don't have skill, this tank is definitely not for you. And as I say that, I'm just getting completely destroyed by the T23 and the MX-AC48. You know what? Let's review the pros and the cons, and after I'm gonna talk about why this tank is skill needed. So, concerning the pros and the cons, I truly love the gun. I know it's average. Most of you will think it's average, and I do think it's average, but I still love it. Unlike the Pantoufleee, which has 220 alpha damage, this one has 240. It's not a huge difference, but on high alpha roll, it's gonna make a difference, because if you have the skill that allows you for your 4-shot to have a high roll, it's gonna be... You're gonna see a difference, honestly. Also, another difference with the Pantoufleee is the fact that this one has 8 to 9 degrees of gun depression, which makes it quite effective in peekaboo situations, especially when you're using hills, etc. Also, maybe one point to highlight is probably the fact that you have, unlike the Pantoufleee, a good turret armor. You can actually bounce shots with your turret, but don't try to hull down. I mean, you can bounce shot if people don't have the time to aim at you. And also, one thing, the poor penetration with the regular shells, but the amazing penetration with your APCRs. I'm actually using calibrated shell, which means my average penetration with gold shells is up to 272 millimeters. So it's quite enough for any tiers, tier 8 and tier 9 that you're gonna encounter, and tier 7 I'm not even talking about them. So yeah, that was for the good sides, but the downside of all these, at least in my opinion, is the fact that the tank lacks of armor, but on the whole, but that's logic because the tank is not made to be armored. But also, and probably the thing that it lacks the most, at least in my opinion, is the mobility. Because I'm not saying the mobility is bad, but I'm saying the mobility is average, too average for a medium tank. If you want it to be really effective, I would have gone for maybe a bit more horsepower. I know the tank had been nerfed during the testing, because when it was in testing, it had 2.4k average damage per minute, which was quite incredible. And yeah, Super Unicoms did great with this tank. It was one of the most overpowered tanks ever. So I think first, when the tank was released, I was at the university, and I bought it from here. And I saw that Wargaming released a video concerning the tank, and I saw a lot of people complaining about the tank being totally shit, or the tank being too expensive. For the tank being too expensive, I can't really mind you, because yeah, 15,000 gold is a lot, but I truly think that 15,000 gold for it is worth it. Of course, if you're a skill player only, which is gonna lead me to my second game, this time alone, and also leading me to talk about why you need skill to play this tank. Two things: you don't have armor, which means every mistakes you're gonna do are gonna be punished. That's the first thing that makes a tank skill based. Also, I would say it's quite hard to manage the clip. I mean, no, it's not that it's hard, but it's you need to make it effective to know how to burst, or how to keep your shells. You don't have to shoot all your shells all the time. You need to know how to manage your shells. So if you know, if you're an Italian tanks fan and you already know how to do that, you can go for the Progetto 46. Honestly, for me, the Progetto 46 is some kind of a Progetto 65, but at tier 8. And that's why I think it's gonna be one of my favorite mediums at tier 8. But I didn't play a lot of battles with it yet, so I can't really tell you if the tank is extremely good or if I'm being lucky with it. But for the moment, I only have 7 battles, and I already did 2 ace tankers, so I guess realize that the tank is not made for me, but at least I'm made for the tank. So now let's focus a bit on how to play it. Concerning the playstyle, I already talked about the peekaboo, and you also need to make sure not to be alone, because when you're fully reloading your tank, especially when you're facing tanks with bigger calibers, you're gonna struggle to either make them bounce or either get away of the situation. That's why I would truly consider that the best way to play this tank is to be with someone. This tank is excellent in platoon. We did a couple of games with Martin yesterday in stream, and we had a lot of fun with the Progetto 46, because this tank in platoon is one of the best ever. And I think everybody is already starting to consider the tank bad. But I disagree. I truly think this tank is extremely good, and that's all. That's all I had to say. So, now, as you can see, I'm not playing extremely aggressively on this one. Why? Because I'm nearly a one-shot. Oh, sorry, one thing, before talking much about the game, I want to highlight one last thing I totally forgot, but I will edit it. But, with this tank, one thing that works perfectly is the perma tracking. Because I was thinking about this because I was perma-tracking the T-34 behind. So yeah, now let's talk about the gameplay. As you can see, I'm not playing extremely aggressively. Why? Because I don't have any HPs and there is an ISU-152. If there was no ISU-152 but something else, I would play aggressively, because it will mean, yeah, I can handle one shot. But with the ISU, if I take one shot, I'm just dead. And as the time goes by and I tell you that, brrr, ISU in front of me, come back. Alright, we had some luck, and here we go for a perma-track to avoid him being able to shoot me. And I just realized he doesn't have the last gun, so even if he shot me, I wouldn't have been dead. And that's how we finished the game, with nearly 5,000 damage and 2 kills. Ace tanker, of course, an extremely good credit coefficient on this tank as well. I totally forgot to tell it, but I will edit it in the pros and the cons, don't worry. So for me it's a big yes for this tank if you're a super unicum, or a unicum at least. If you're not a unicum, super unicum, or someone that knows how to deal with the autoloader system, the autoloader mechanism, don't buy it. I also want to thank Pinia4 for the thumbnail. He has a YouTube channel, the link is in the description. Please feel free to go and subscribe to him, and see you soon.